Globe TV.
Globe TV. Yenim wapedi yenyina. Yedi wiyasi rebreu. Wabubu anu debia. Fiyemi yamana mansun sam. Globe TV. Yenim wapedi yenyina. Yedi wiyasi rebreu. Baby ya wushabia. Globe TV, bringing the world to you. Globe TV, yati semferama. Ya muhiya ya sumbunti ya obabia. Globe TV, yenim wapedi yenyina. Yadi wiyasi rebreu. Wabubu anu debia. Fiyemi ya mana mansun sam. Globe TV, yenim wapedi yenyina.
Thank you very much for your time this morning. A very good morning to you and welcome to Wake Up News Live on Globe TV with me, Sandra at Wine. Now let's focus on what's making headlines for this morning. Coming up, the Technical University Teachers Association of Ghana has indefinitely suspended a strike action declared on November 18th. Also, we have stakeholders in the northern region have called for an end to gender-based violence, preventing women from realizing their full productive capacities. The Chief Executive of the Community Water and Sanitation Agency has bemoaned the quality of water in the country. We have for you the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources say the Accra Zoo is safe for use and has urged Ghanaians and foreigners to patronize the facility. Also, Soya Value Chain Association of Ghana has called on the government to appoint new leaders for the Ghana Commodities Exchange Buffer Stock Company and the Incoming Commodities Export Control Authority. Well, we've got this and many other details coming up to you on the Wake Up News, including sports.
Yadi wiyasi rebreu. Wabubu anu debia. Fiyemi yamana mansun sam. Globe TV. Yenim wapedi yenyina. Yadi wiyasi rebreu. Baby ya wushabia. Globe TV, bringing the world to you. Globe TV, yati semferama. Ya muhiya ya sumbunti ya obabia. Globe TV, yenim wapedi yenyina. Yadi wiyasi rebreu. Wabubu anu debia. Fiyemi yamana mansun sam. Globe TV, yenim wapedi yenyina. Yadi wiyasi rebreu. Wabubu anu debia. Fiyemi yamana mansun sam. Globe TV, yenim wapedi yenyina.
Remember, we are streaming live on Facebook at Globe TV. GH, let's begin with our first story. The Technical University Teachers Association of Ghana has indefinitely suspended its strike action declared on November 18th. TUTAG, in a statement on December 10th, said the indefinite suspension follows the conclusion of negotiations on its demands with the government. A portion of the statement said following the conclusion of negotiations on internally generated fund-related conditions of service, off-campus and vehicle maintenance allowances, and pursuant to the memorandum of agreement signed between the government team and the labor unions, we announce the suspension of the strike action declared on Monday, November 18th, 2022. The suspension takes immediate effect. The association has therefore urged all 10 public technical universities to resume work on Monday, December 12, 2022. TUTAG expressed gratitude to the National Labour Commission for helping them reach an agreement concerning their demands. It would be recalled that TUTAG on November 18th declared an indefinite strike action demanding a review of vehicle maintenance allowance, implementation of the negotiated internally generated fund, and other conditions of service. TUTAG, in a letter to announce a strike at the time, said the Ghana Tertiary Education Council and other government agencies have not given any serious attention to their demand. Now, Glorious Hope for Life Educational Complex has held a 2022 annual graduation ceremony in the Bono East region with the theme of promoting quality education through culture and co-curricular. The proprietor of the school, Madam Esther, speaking at the event, encouraged parents not to give up on their children, but to be more involved in their education.
We believe our fathers were the most.
The event brought together several educational scholars as well as parents. Addressing the event on behalf of the proprietor of the school, Madam Esther congratulated all stakeholders of the school for their contribution towards the nurturing of the school from its formative years to its present state. She further called on parents to invest in their ward's education and be more involved to become responsible citizens in the future.
Na watiem sankwala yiye ntra ena wo hye baabia yesuku yedra na yenyame adom awofo madawro ma ena mama ehuni ayehui sayefre na mo ama enyeye enti awofo nyina yadamwasio awofo madawro maka ho ena daisui abamu sei na sene yetwasia ha awofo sade mo saase no moma yehu ne sa mo ahokeka a mode baba be hye atai mofra yachi ama bibia kwaso wasumdwe mu enkasa wini bio oso bua oba no na dabi no oba no so be hye wani onyam.
Speaking to Globe News, some teachers of the school bemoaned the infrastructural deficit of the school, hindering effective teaching and learning. They pleaded with the government and stakeholders to come to their aid.
Some of them is about what do you call our tables, chairs, books, and then even parents' contribution. Anyway, they are doing well, but sometimes, for financial aspect, there will be a lot of lapses or some lapses, and then again with the infrastructures. When I talk about the infrastructures, I'm talking about the toilet, urinal, and then other structures. Indeed, parents are doing their best.
Some graduating students expressed excitement and advised parents to bring their wards to the school.
Happy about this school because we are very good in everything, culture, everything. So if you bring your child here, you are not losing anything. You are going to get big thing from this school, and the teachers too are very good. Even when you learn something in the house, you come to them. Some teachers will be saying, but no, our teachers won't do that. They'll sit beside you and guide you and do everything what you don't understand. I'm so happy. Every parent should bring his child to Glorious Hope for Life Educational.
The unemployment rate in Ghana is expected to reach 4.80% by the end of 2022, according to Trading Economics Global Micro Models and Analyst expectations. In the long term, the Ghana unemployment rate is projected to trend around 4.0% in 2023 and 4.70% in 2024. In 2020, the unemployment rate in Ghana was at approximately 4.60% of the total labor force. Speaking at a graduation ceremony at the Heritage Christian College in Accra, the CEO of Special Group of Companies, Dr. Ernest Oforisapon, proposes solutions to graduate unemployment.
It is an honor to be part of this fourth graduation ceremony of Heritage Christian College. It is such a pleasure to share in the emotions filling this auditorium as you who are graduating close this chapter of your life's story. Education opens an individual to a world of opportunities, and that is why every parent tries to leave this legacy for their children. Even as a nation, I know we are striving to give every single Ghanaian child of school-going age the chance to access education, to be able to build a future for themselves. Unfortunately, it is not for me to tell you, but you all know that government cannot absorb all of you into the system. Therefore, the need for most of you or some of you to get into entrepreneurship. One of the aims of this institution is to build you into entrepreneurs. And I must applaud the founders and then the University Council for that. Because for them to introduce entrepreneurship into their curriculum is a plus, and I expect most universities to do same, because we are now in that era.
My dear graduates, if you go home and wait for somebody to employ you, you may be wasting your precious time. If you fail to see the invisible opportunities around you, you may be wasting your God-given opportunities. So I urge you to rewrite your own life story by envisioning, by imagining, by creating in your mind the kind of productive, ethical jobs you are going to do that will bring you good income to take care of yourself and those who need your help. And this leads me to my second point. Believe that you can do the impossible. Number one, see the invisible, what nobody can see. You should be able to see it. Number two, believe that you can do the impossible. And that is another way of saying, take practical steps and move from imagining abstract ideas and act.
Moving on, the Finance Minister Kenufo Riata has assured that the Ghana Cares for Patampa project will create employment opportunities for the country's youth as their service are engaged in an all-year-round agriculture farming project. The minister said the project aims to bring together Ghanaians towards a common profitable objective, especially towards economic recovery. The Ghana Cares for Patampa program outlined in the 2022 to 2023 budget is an initiative to bridge the food supply gap, especially rice and vegetables, while reducing the risk associated with unemployment.
So the Ghana Cares program from the Ministry of Finance, working with all the collaborating ministries and identifying MEDA, our focus to promote domestic food production and security and move towards exports, initially focused on rice, poultry, and maize through commercial and large-scale farming, and enhance outgrower enclaves for our new graduates. Also, that's the link up with the National Service Secretariat. So the Ghana Cares program from the Ministry of Finance, working with all the collaborators.
Now, the Chief Executive of the Community Water and Sanitation Agency has bemoaned the quality of water in the country. Addressing the press on Sunday, Engineer Dr. Walanyo Kwadwo Siabi said the quality of water is an issue. He noted that about 95% of water sources in the country are obtained from groundwater.
According to Dr. Kwadwo Siabi, all the data available suggests that about 30% of the groundwater that has high levels of iron, manganese, fluorides, arsenic, and hardness all have health challenges. He said the surface water sources have also deteriorated due to human activities in most river basins in the country. Mr. Siabi also noted that there have been other challenges such as frequent breakdown of the water facilities, citing an instance of a water project which was completed in 2016 but broke down a year after completion.
We have noted that there were frequent breakdown of the water facilities. In fact, there was a water system that was completed in 2016. By 2017, it has broken down. Most of the time, you have the downtime more than 1 month. So it means that a water facility which has been completed will break down 1 month before it is fixed by the communities.
Dr. Siabi mentioned that his outfit also observed during its studies that there is very high unaccounted for water. He described the situation as a huge challenge as 50% of water is unaccounted for.
We also have noted that we have very high non-revenue, or what we call unaccounted for water. You pump, for instance, if you pump 100 cubic meters of water, at the end, at the customer level, you are able to account for only half of that. it means that 50% was lost, and we call this non-revenue water. And so this is a very big challenge.
Other issues he stated are misapplication of funds within communities, inadequate supervision by assemblies, technical and managerial capacity at the community level, and adequate financing for post-construction activities to guarantee regular follow-ups.
Now, the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abujinapo, says the Accra Zoo is safe for use and has urged Ghanaians and foreigners to patronize the facility. He said the zoo was safe following the enhanced security features put in place and upgraded facilities made after the temporary closure of the zoo.
The minister made the comments on Friday at the official reopening of the zoo and inspection of the lions enclosure in Accra. He said all animals in the wild were protected by law. As such, their capture, hunt or keep either as a pet or a private zoo required a permit from the Forestry Commission. Mr. Jinapo said the government was fully committed to the preservation and efficient management of Ghana's natural resources and zoos.
Working to upgrade the Kumasi Zoo and to establish 3 new zoos in Tambali, Takoradi and Koforidua. We have also commenced engagement to establish zoos in all 16 regions of our country. Let me use this opportunity to call on the private sector to partner with government on this ambitious agenda to bring zoos closer to our people and promote ecotourism.
He added that his outfit would continue to adopt measures and strategies to protect Ghana's wildlife resources for current and future generations. The Chief Executive of the Forestry Commission, Mr. John Alote, said since the closure of the Accra Zoo on August 30, 2022, the Commission had worked tirelessly to improve security and facilities at the zoo. These improvements, he said, included the installation of an electrical power supply to the zoo, the installation of closed-circuit television cameras and camera traps at the zoo, and especially the lions enclosure to detect the movement of objects and persons within the area and enhance surveillance.
To call on all stakeholders, partners, and the general public to play their part by following the laid-down administrative procedures and also observe the security protocols put in place at the zoo. It may interest you to know that the zoo has a bat research center hosting over 200 bats. The center is a collaboration among the Wildlife Division of the Forestry Commission, the Veterinary Services Division, the University of Ghana, and the Cambridge University, as well as the Institute of Zoology of the United Kingdom. The center was established to study bat diseases and behavior.
Coming up next, stakeholders in the northern region have called for an end to gender-based violence, preventing women from realizing their full productive capacities. We have for you Soya Value Chain Association of Ghana has called on the government to appoint new leaders for the Ghana Commodities Exchange Buffer Stock Company and the incoming Commodities Export Control Authorities. We have more for you after this break. Please do stay with us.
Globe TV, yet is ferama, Yamuhia, Yasumbunti, your babia. Globe TV, Yenim Wapedi, Yadivi, say, Rebel, Wabu, and Debia. Fiamia, Manamanson, Sam. Globe TV, Yenim Wapedi, Yadivi, say, Rebel, Wabu, and Debia. Fiamia, Manamanson, Sam. Globe TV. Yenim wapedi yadi we see rebel baby I wish bia. Globe TV, bringing the world to you. Globe TV yati semferama ya muhiya yasumbunti yo babia. Globe TV.
You welcome back. Now, 11 persons are reported dead at a farming community called Ataniata in the Asutifi South District in the Ahafo region. The deceased is said to have died on the spot when an incoming Kia truck from Gosu ran over them and killed them. The incident occurred when a tricycle carrying passengers and some bags of ginger turned in the middle of the road after it overtook another vehicle, 10 of the passengers died on the spot and 1 died at the hospital. Others too sustained various degrees of injuries. The victims are said to be receiving treatment at the St. Elizabeth Catholic Hospital at Shudiem, while the deceased has since been deposited at the morgue. Now, Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia challenged global leaders and participants of the 2022 International Democratic Union Forum to address the burgeoning threat to democracy that are springing up in the Sahel region. Speaking during the IDU 2022 Forum held in Washington, D.C. in the United States, Vice President touched on issues relating to global trade, supply chain disruptions, and sanctions. Dr. Bawumia observed that although the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war have jointly affected global trade, disruptions to democracy, rule of law, and a lack of respect for the territorial integrity of countries pose an even greater threat. Dr. Bawumia subsequently called on global leaders not to turn a blind eye to the development in the Sahel region, where democracy has come under attack from different angles, including terrorist attacks.
As Manfred Sager characterized the football that was used in the 2010 World Cup in South Africa. This football that we what was used in the World Cup was supplied by Adidas, a transnational corporation headquartered in Germany. And the balls were manufactured in China using latex rubber made in India and thermoplastic rubber produced in Taiwan. The plastics, in turn, were generated from petroleum imported from the Middle East and Norway and carried on mostly South Korean-built ships. So this characterization, ladies and gentlemen, depicts the centrality of global trade in the economic and sociocultural development growth of our world. Many countries, however, are re-evaluating global supply chains. Questions are being asked. How dependent should the world be on a few countries for critical supplies? Should countries not produce more of their own food and move towards alternative energy sources? Europe is certainly moving towards reducing its dependence on Russian energy and expects to be fully independent of Russian energy in 8 years or less. The issue for Europe is a matter of trust. They do not trust that Russia and other countries will not use energy as a weapon for war in the future. Sanctions have worsened global supply and therefore increased prices of energy and food. And developing and African countries in particular have borne the brunt of global supply chain disruptions as well as sanctions because the shock absorbers they have proven very thin to withstand the shocks. Similarly, the infusion of technology in the manufacturing of products such as household appliances, mobile phones, computers, and so on, depends on the global supply of semiconductor chips. The evolution of the global supply chains has resulted in the supply of semiconductor chips being concentrated in Taiwan and China.
Now, the International Democratic Union is a global alliance for over 80 conservative political parties committed to freedom and democracy. The IDU Forum is held to connect conservative thought leaders from around the globe who share best practices and learn from one another. Now, stakeholders in the northern region have called for an end to gender-based violence, which they noted is preventing women from realizing their full productive capacities. The World Food Programme, the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, and other partners made the call at Adeba to mark the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence in Karaga in the northern region.
The Deba followed a march through the principal street of Karaga to draw awareness to gender-based violence and its impact on socio-economic development. The 16 days of activism against gender-based violence is a global campaign aimed at raising awareness and support towards ending violence against women and girls. The campaign also seeks to eliminate inequality and child marriage, as well as ensure that every human being enjoys the right to violence-free life. Addressing the Deba in Karaga, the head of field office in Tamale, Jamila Abdul Wahab, said, though Ghana has made significant progress in addressing gender-based violence, the issue persists across the country, with nearly a quarter of all women in Ghana suffering from physical or sexual abuse from their intimate partners.
The second reason why we are in Karaga is the perception of high incidence of child marriage. Early marriage ends the hopes and dreams of girls and hampers their efforts to end poverty by reducing women's earnings in adulthood. Children born to children born to child mothers are more at risk of death or poor development due to poor nutrition. Campaigners say that ending child marriage will boost efforts to achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goals. This will be achieved through access to education, encouraging economic growth, improving maternal and child health, and enhancing nutrition and food security.
Stakeholders believe addressing discrimination against women and girls and giving them access to resources will help communities like Karaga to boost food security.
The Soya Value Chain Association of Ghana has called on the government to appoint new leaders for the Ghana Commodities Exchange Buffer Stock Company and the Incoming Commodities Export Control Authority. According to the association, leaders of these institutions do not have the requisite skills to regulate the affairs of the soya value chain.
The association, in a press statement, declared its position on issues in the soya value chain. According to the statement, the government should increase effort to develop a national strategy to make soya beans a cash crop, replicate and expand the SAPIP project to increase soya bean production in Ghana, and revise the leadership of public institutions like Ghana Commodities Exchange, the Buffer Stock Company, and the Incoming Commodities Export Control Authority to give value chain actors control to lead these committees for effective operations on the ground. This follows a recent directive from the government to regulate the export of these commodities. The Soya Value Chain Association of Ghana was established more than a decade ago to produce and make available high-quality certified soya seeds for farmers in Ghana and to quadruple the soya beans production figure each year. Speaking at a press conference, the Vice Chairman, Daniel Ahenkra, appreciated the government's move to regulate the export of the commodity, but indicated that stakeholders along the value chain are usually overlooked in decision making. According to him, the association hopes that at every stage of the negotiations leading to the final decision of the temporal ban, its members should have been consulted as a body.
The actors in the Soya Value Chain Association of Ghana and the underlisted stakeholders wish to present our position on the temporary ban on the exportation of soya beans and other matters as stated below. We sincerely appreciate government's move to regulate the export of this commodity, but based on concerns widely raised by our members who are the main actors, we think further engagement is needed between government and the actors to reach an amicable agreement. In addition, we would like...
It's now time for the sports update.
Globe TV, yenim wapedi Wabubu anu debia Efie ni amana manson sam Globe TV Yenim wapedi enyina Yedi wiye si rebreu Baby ya wushe bia Globe TV, bringing the world to you.
Have become 4. We now have the last 4 standing, and surprisingly, an African team is in there, which happens to be Morocco. Good morning. Welcome to the sports segment of the Wake Up Show. My name is Robert KONYEH. Let's quickly take a look at the headlines. Surprises keep hitting the World Cup as England and Portugal were knocked out by France and Morocco respectively. We have the highlight for you this morning. Also, England captain Harry Kane talked about his penalty miss and the disappointment of being out of the World Cup. Gary Southgate, who happens to be the coach for England, heaped praises on his players despite the exit. Also, the Abyss Celestes of Argentina have started preparation towards their semi-final game. And also, the Croatian national team also trained as they seek to beat Argentina in the semi-finals. And Adidas has also unveiled the new ball for the semi-finals of the World Cup. And in some local stories, the Black Galaxies are still on preparations towards the champ. Some players have shared their experience with the media. Also, coach Arnold Walker has also spoken to the media about how the preparations have been so far. And we will take a look at the Black Galaxies beating Accra House of Folk by 2-1 in a friendly game. Now let's go for this quick break. We'll be back with the details of this and many other stories.
Globe TV, yatisem ferama, ya muhiya ya sumbunti ya obabia. Globe TV, yenim wapedi yenyina, yadiwi ya siribreu, wabubu wanudabia. Ifiye mi ya manamansun sam. Globe TV, yenim wapedi yenyina.
You're welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Let's begin with the 2022 FIFA World Cup. England and Portugal were kicked out of the competition by France and Morocco respectively.
Globe TV, bringing the world to you. Globe TV, yatisem ferama, ya muhiya ya sumbunti ya obabia. Globe TV, yenim wapedi yenyina, yadiwi ya siribreu, wabubu wanudabia. Ifiye mi ya manamansun sam. Globe TV, yenim wapedi yenyina, yadiwi ya siribreu, wabubu wanudabia. Ifiye mi ya manamansun sam. Globe TV, yenim wapedi yenyina, yadiwi ya siribreu, baby ya wushabia. Globe TV, bringing the world to you. Globe TV, yatisem ferama, ya muhiya ya sumbunti ya obabia. Globe TV, yenim wapedi yenyina, yadiwi ya siribreu, wabubu wanudabia. Ifiye mi ya manamansun sam. Globe TV, yenim wapedi yenyina, yadiwi ya siribreu, wabubu wanudabia. Ifiye mi ya manamansun sam. Globe TV, yenim wapedi yenyina, yadiwi ya siribreu, baby ya wushabia. Globe TV, bringing the world to you. Globe TV, yatisem ferama, ya muhiya ya.
England captain Harry Kane talked about his penalty miss and the disappointment of being out of the World Cup after the game.
As we know, big games come down to fine details, fine margins, and they got theirs right, and we didn't. No, I'm always someone who prepares for if I get 1 penalty in a game, 2 penalties. So I always have an idea of what I want to do, and yeah, you know, I can't fault my preparation or anything like that. The details, it was just the execution on the night. You know, the first one was great. And
also, the coach of England, Gary Southgate, heaped praises on his English players despite the exit from the World Cup.
Of course, in the end, goals are decisive, and but I've just said to the players in there, I don't think they could have given any more. I think they've played really well against the top team. There's fine margins and things at both ends that have ended up deciding the game, but I think the way they've progressed as a group throughout this tournament has been fantastic. It's pointless me going into that, you know. I'd rather talk about our
Well,
players.
the Albi Celestes of Argentina have started preparation towards their semi-final game against Croatia. So you can see seriousness in the eyes of the Albi Celestes of Argentina. Leo Messi and his teammates are getting ready for the clash against Croatia. Also, the Croatian national team trained as they seek to beat Argentina in the semi-final. So that is the main man in your picture, Luka Modric, the man for Real Madrid who has been the talisman for Croatia in this World Cup. Also, Adidas has unveiled the new ball for the semi-finals of the World Cup. We had great legends who were there to help launch the ball for the semi-finals of the 2022 World Cup.
Globe TV, yenim wapedi enyina yadi wi ase rebreu wabubu anu da bia efie ni amana manson sam Globe TV yenim.
Now to some local stories. The Black Galaxies are still on preparations towards the CHAN. Some players have shared their experience with the media.
For the past, let me say, 10, 11 days, and we started training, and at the weekend, that was last Saturday, we had a friendly game with a second division team from Accra Newtown, the Newtown FC, that we beat them by 7-0. We continued our training till today, that we had another friendly match that we also won by 4-1. Me, I'm not looking at the goals, I'm looking at the performance and our game plan that we are strategizing to play, and to me it's working.
So that was Coach Anna Walker who talked about how far the preparation has gone. Also, Kofi Koji and David Abagna are players for the CHAN team. They also spoke to the media.
My name is Kofi Koji. I play for Legon Cities. Yeah, and our preparation towards the tournament have been very fantastic, because what we have been doing at training grounds is very fantastic, and we have been playing friendly matches throughout this week, and I hope and I pray that we go and bring the cup home. What I'll say is togetherness. I've seen togetherness in the team, in where we are now. It's like everybody love each other, because when we are one, everything is possible. So, as I've been
The Black Galaxies of Ghana came from a go down to beat Accra Hearts of Oak by 2-1 at the Ghana Man Soccer Center of Excellence, Pram in a friendly game. Hearts of Oak took the lead through Amankwa Bafi in the first half before the Galaxies scored 2 goals in the second half to win the game. The friendly was a good test for Coach Anna Walker's side as they continue with preparations ahead of the 2023 African Nation Championship CHAN to be staged in Algeria next month. So that's how we draw the curtains down on sports. Do meet us at 9 a.m. for Sports Arena. Thank you so much for your time.
Globe TV, bringing the world to you. Globe TV,
Robert, we do have some few days to end the FIFA World Tournament. So, which team do you think is going to win?
Well, I'll go for France.
You go for France?
Yes, I expect to see France and Argentina in the finals.
Okay.
Then finally, Mbappe is going to do his magics. Then we have France.
Field.
Yes.
Okay, let's just hope that on the 18th of December 2022. Let's take a recap of the top stories. The Technical University Teachers Association of Ghana has indefinitely suspended a strike action declared on November 18th. We halfway, the stakeholders in the northern region have called for an end to gender-based violence, preventing women from realizing their full productive capacities. The Chief Executive of the Community Water and Sanitation Agency has bemoaned the quality of water in the country. Well, that brings us to the end of the Wake Up News with you this morning. I am Sandra Etubwai, and it's now time for Yasino. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.
Globe TV, yenim wapedi enyina yadi wiye si rebrew wabubu anu debia. Efi emi amana manson sam Globe TV.